Hello and welcome to our webinar on managing your business finances better. My name is Stephanie Davis and I'm the Managing Director of Pimbrook Support. I'd like to thank you first of all for taking the time out, as I know time is very precious at the moment, and hopefully these are a few things that will help time in your business. First, I'd like to do a quick overview on Pimbrook for anybody who doesn't know us, and the client testimonials, a few words on what people have said about us, jump into Sage 50. If you have any Q&A at the end there, and we'll leave our contact details up for you. So I suppose first of all, I'd like to open with how proud I am to say that we're the Sage Irish partner for the last 4 years. We've got over 18 years experience and we serve over 1,300 customers. We concentrate in the areas of Sage accounting and payroll. And I suppose one of the things about the business is that we are committed to customer service. That is the most important thing to us, and hopefully the representation of the awards there show that. But it doesn't come that easy. It's an everyday learning curve. It's every day trying to improve. But I hope by looking at some of these wonderful brands up here and words that they've used about our company there: professional, efficient, excellent, best company. These are words that we pride ourselves around and hope to achieve better and better every day. So what we'll do is we'll quickly jump into Sage 50 and run through a couple of the items there around it. So in Sage 50, we have our modules here, and what I wanted to look into first was the settings for getting paid quicker. So you've got your invoice payments, and what that allows you to do is use Stripe or PayPal for you to get paid on your invoice. So if you don't have very large value invoices, you might find that this can turn over the age debt much quicker. So you'll go and set up your account in there under your manage account. And when you come to creating an invoice, which I'm just going to duplicate one here, and you'll see here that there's a number of lines on it. I've got a number of nominals and values. So what I'm going to do is, that's for the purpose later on in a demonstration, and I'm going to change the date as well here deliberately to 2020, which I want to use it later. I've exceeded the credit limit because I've got a number of these invoices on, and I'll just change that so it is, it's not actually that, we'll leave it as opened. Okay. Right, so if we pop out of here and you've got my email and, my invoice, and I'm going to just drop an email here, and what it'll do is it'll pick up any invoices that haven't been emailed so far. It'll run through the process. You can see there that it's emailed successfully. So if I just go back in here, and what that's pushed through is just to say that they're emailed, and I've set up this account there to look at my Gmail account. So if I pop into Gmail, we'll have invoices that come through. And what you can see here is on our invoice, and you've got a Pay Now button. Now, once you click on the Pay Now, the customer will be instantly prompted to go through a quick onboarding there of about 2 screens, and they can pay through their account, and it's all set up for you, and it'll post into your bank. You can set up a separate bank account for PayPal and maybe these type of payments, and then you can reconcile to the account and transfer through later. So that's one way to get paid quicker. We can help you with that setup. Just give a phone call through and we can look into it for you. So we've got our inactive. So one thing is, we don't want all our bank accounts listed. They may not be regularly used. So you can see here, I've got a list of bank accounts. If I conclude the inactive, you'll see this one appears here. And all that is by a tick box on the account here, inactive. So I can click it on or off. So I may just not, it may be a management account that I don't need people to be on the visual, or I may not want them to be posting in regularly. But why I'm in the bank reconciliation actually is I want to show something here. If I pop in here and click on the reconciliation, put in the references, etc., what you'll see here is I got 2 transactions. So I'm going to keep it nice and simple for the purpose of the demonstration. I'm going to match the reconciliation, sorry, not the item here. Now I can click on Save Progress, okay? And what this will do is it will save a position on my bank reconciliation. So I may need to go away, I may need to do something, I may need to resolve an issue, and I want to save what I've done. And when I come back in here, rather than having to start from scratch, I can use my saved one. So I can see my balance there is not matching, so I can put in the balance here and I click on reconciliation. Okay, so that one's going to complete through. And again, for the purpose of the demonstration, I'm going to go back into reconciliation and I'd like to click and finish off. So I want to have 2 reconciliations here. You can see the balances are matching, there's no difference. So I click on reconcile. Okay, so I've discovered that there's an issue with the reconciliation and I want to pop back in and see what's happened. So I can see here that I've got 2 reconciliations completed, but my problem happens to be on this one. If I do reverse this reconciliation, it will reverse number 14 as well, this one here. Okay, because it needs to realign itself to a known position. If I only got rid of 14, it wouldn't touch number 13. So I'm going to click on number 13, reverse the reconciliation. It asks me to back up. I'm not going to back up, but I just want to show you that it prompts you as you would see a normal backup. And again, for the purpose of speed, I'm not going to click yes. But I am going to click yes here because I do want to reverse these reconciliations. And it has advised me that this is not the most recent. So once I click yes, that's reversed. I'm going to close out of here and I'm going to pop back into my reconciliation, click OK, and you'll see both items are back in the list. And all I need to do is repeat the exercise, except this time correctly. Okay, we had an inactive there I was talking earlier on. We've also got an inactive on the nominal. Again, it's just a tick box here on the right hand side, and you've got your tick box here to include or exclude them on your list. Again, for the same reason, you may not want them listed there, or you may not want people even posting to them, besides the fact that they're maybe just genuinely inactive. Another area that we were asked about was for staff that are not necessarily in the office all the time, or are permanently working remotely, or even your accountant, where you don't necessarily want your accountant to have to come in every time, or worse, you're sending backups and then waiting to use the Sage 50 application again. So if you manage your Sage Drive, what it'll do is it'll click into a data management center here, and you will see this is the company, this is the users. And what I can do here is I can literally click on here and I will put their name and email address and what their access level is. Now, I'm not going to put the name in, and it can't be blank for obvious reasons, but I just want to show you here, you can be an owner and a user and an accountant. And once you send the link to them, they will be able to be set up. But again, if you need any help with this, we're here. Give us a call and we'll help you set it up. One other area there that's useful, and it's more administration piece there on the Sage Drive, where you may want to work on your local data set and you don't want the remote users to be getting in and doing anything. You can lock those out for a period of time. Now, as I stressed, this is more an administrator feature. So I would suggest that you only do this when you absolutely necessarily need to work on Sage 50, maybe without the remote users. This could be a time when the accountant maybe is working on it. Okay, we all know about the importance of backup, and sometimes apologies there, clicked the wrong one, the importance of backup. And usually it's not an issue until we need it. Now, a lot of times we don't check our backup. So again, this is nothing to do with Sage, but it is a recommendation. Every now and again, you should make sure that you can access the backup, you can restore it, and it is in working order. What the schedule backup is now doing for you is kind of providing that environment, protected environment for you. So for instance, when you look in here, you can see all the companies that are available to be on schedule for the backup. So you can see my one down here. One user is currently logged in, which is me. I've got 31 comments on my data, and it was run today at 3:15. Now, to be able to run and set up the schedule backup, you need to go into your settings. I have a number of backups here. So you've got 3 options. You can back up and check data off. Please, I strongly recommend you do not use that option, because if you don't check your data and there's any issue, unfortunately, it could have to be sent away to be looked at, and you could be offline. There is no reason for you to use that one. So what I do recommend is, at least what you do is you back up once a day. You set your time, maybe 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time the office closes at. You do have an alternative one here, and because the new schedule backup allows users to be logged in, you can back up more regularly if you wish to, and you can set it how often and starting from. These are all the companies that you are backing up or can by this tick box here, so maybe test environments. And again, if you have access to Microsoft 365, you can put them to the cloud in OneDrive. Again, if you 365, you get email notifications out, and you can decide what areas that you want to. Minimum is the accounts data. You may talk to your IT people, and they may have a system backup, which is more than just Sage, and they may include these areas instead for you, rather than taking the workload every time. Once you have decided all that and you're not in Microsoft 365, you need to set a location on the server or somewhere that you can record these backups. Okay, you can see who the users are logged in. If there are, this is me. You can see if there's any data results there, so you can see where we've got all of the status of each one of these companies. So you can see that all this was fine. You can see here 1 or more comments were made on this, so we could look at that. And what you have is you have a destination of where your backup files are being held. The other good thing about the schedule backup now is that when you come in the morning or after a backup has been done, you logged in, if there are queries on that data set, you will be prompted to read a message and accept that you're going to take responsibility for those messages. So assuming you decide, yes, I'm going to look at the check date, I'm going to see what the results are. I don't like what I see, or I do like it, it's fine, I can move on. The one good thing is it won't allow you to back up any of that data that had a corruption in it. So if you have any messages in that and you had a good backup last night or the previous night, it will hold on to that and it won't allow you to delete it. And the idea is that you can go very quickly to what's known as a good backup. You don't have that time lag where you've ended up been working on it for a number of hours or a number of days, and now you've got to go and re-input the information. So if you want any more information about the schedule backup, please, I strongly encourage you to drop us an email and we can send information off to you. Okay. One area that there was a gap in the reporting of the Sage 50 where we heard people saying is, I'm finishing my year end in December and I'm starting up in January, but I'm not ready to close it down, or the accountant can't come in and do the audit for whatever reason, which is very reasonable. It takes a while to close down. You've got to take all your cash receipts in, close off your supplier statements, etc., etc. So what we've done here is we've created a report. Now, there's no data in at the moment, and I'm sticking to just sales because I'm in 2020, as you can see here. I was doing, for the purpose of the demonstration, I was running some 2020 invoices, so I'm just going to update that one there. So that invoice is going to update live now. And what I'm going to do here is, it should look at the report. So you'll see here that I have under a number of the nominal codes, and I've got a number of, not that one, sorry, I've got a number of 20 other 2020, so we should see some data coming through. So I've connected to my Sage 50 and I'm now going to update it for the 1st of the 1st, 2020 to the 31st of the 12th, 2020. So it's pulled in 53 rows of data. So what you can see here is I've got now my hardware sales for head office. I don't have any other department filled out. So I've got my management receivables here. I've got distribution, except I've got 80 in there, 20 in the Kildare office and nothing in the Galway office, and total. So that's instantly connecting to my Sage 50 and being able to see that data. Again, if you're comfortable with pivot tables, all we've done is create another one. This time you can go across the year and the department. So it's a case of using that data as you wish. Again, you can do things like obviously use pie charts. Now, obviously I've got very little data in here. It's all in one category of sales there, as you can see down here. But all of that now is in Excel. So if you're comfortable with that, or you'd like us to set up, again, I encourage you to give us a call into the office, and that certainly should help you get quick information for you to help you manage those finances. Two things I want to finish on is around making tax digital. Now, I appreciate that is primarily UK, but we have had a number of inquiries here where they are managing UK companies from Ireland. So all I want to say to you is under the company preferences, the VAT tab, you have enable making tax digital, and then you will pop into your VAT return, and once you submit online, you'll just have to put in your HMRC details there as you go along, and it will automatically submit your VAT return online as you are requested. Now, there's been a number of deadlines, but ultimately we're at the final hurdle now that everybody needs to be processing this digitally. And I know we're all exhausted, and it's just around the corner about Brexit. I'm not here to preach about the whereabouts on Brexit myself. What I do want to say to you, though, is Sage, we're dealing with the UK government directly and putting in some I suppose, contingencies into the software depending on what could happen. Now, that's been worked on for over a year because we thought it was going to be needed for March 31st. But obviously that's been extended. Now, you won't see any of those changes in a version 26, but what will happen is when a deal comes about, whether it's this month, January, or whenever, that when you go to update, you will immediately get access to those contingency plans. So I can only stress, make sure you stay updated all the time. You may think that you're not going to be directly impacted by the Brexit, but we don't know on things like VAT codes, Intrastat, etc., etc. So once again, I'd like to sincerely thank you for taking the time out, and we've plenty of regular webinars going on. If you feel there's any topics you'd like us to discuss in more detail, we'd be only happy to go through those with you. So I'll leave that up there for the moment, and thank you.